Hadn't planned on doing a video on the first day of Cheltenham afterwards, but I think will actually in the end. All I'll say is my knowledge of horse racing is I backed horses on good to soft today, thinking it would go out a bit, and it ended up being soft to heavy. So it's how much I know. Speaking of this hurdle, the race really was greatly affected by steering phalanges jumping to the right, effectively taking out Exilio Dene, basically bringing the horse down, who actually literally brought down Captain Guinness. Both of them were going well enough and were taking out the race. So I think the form can be maybe a little shaky then from that. I don't know how much you can take into it with two of the horses being taken out by a very erratic steer phalange. She's considered them very well. Coming to the second last on the other side of the course, I thought he was beaten. I thought you'd given me a bet at that point. I would have said there's quite a few going better than him, but he won them very well. Just holding off Abracadabras on the run-in. I'm not sure how much effect this will have on Champion Hurdle next year. Shifskin, I wonder, might be outpaced and wouldn't get into race enough. And with two horses taken out as well, I'm not sure how much effect it will have. But it's a great win for Nicola Boynville and Nick Henderson to start the meeting. With Abracadabras second, Chandry House third, and the very erratic jumping of Steer Phalange in fourth. The Arkle, I have to say that I think a Notebook lost a race at the start. Or in fact, in the not a start. As the horse basically took off for a while after the false start. Rachel Blackmore had to bring him back. There's always the issue in preview meetings about whether Notebook would take off too much and basically be out of control. And I think with the false start, the horse never really was going well enough, I think, after that, and was very well beaten indeed. Outsider winning here, put the kettle on. Braden Coleman 16-1, bit of a shock winner for the Arkle. We're mare winner of this race, the last mare being Analog's daughter 40 years ago. And the RSA Chase last mare, I think the last mare was Brief Gale in 1995. In that one, there's a bit of mares maybe have a better record over hurdles than I do over fences. Don't quite know why, maybe because mares might have retired early to go to the paddocks and maybe don't have a chance to go over fences as much. Looking at championship races, we've got, well, of course, about to talk about Champion Hurdle and the Patanti. But you've got Flaky Dove, Dawn 1, Annie Power winning with Champion Hurdle. And other fences, all I can think of offhand are Dawn again over, of course, the Gold Cup. And Glencarrick Lady back in 72. But anyway, put a kettle on winning, beating Fakar Dudui with Royal Grief in third and Globe of Citizen fourth. Bit of a disappointment for Cashback, who fell away before falling at the last flight. Well, sorry, she fell two out. Move on to the Festival Handicap Chase, commonly known this year, for a few years now, known as the Ultima. Good win for Brendan Powell Jr. here, who won this race 7 years ago on a Golden Heathland. I thought he looked good in those days, and I think now he's in a bad season. I think he's had 25 winners this year. But I thought he could one of the top jockeys. Hasn't quite happened for him in that sense, but it's good for him to have another winner. And same with David Bridgewater, who hasn't quite had a greatest few years, so it's good for them to win the race. Killer Sato have been tipped up by as a possibility from Darryl Jacobs in the Doncaster Cheltenham preview, winning well enough in second. Iskrama third, an excellent one in my view from Vindication, and a top weight, hadn't won for half a year, and so certainly one for that's a horse to look for in the future. Move on now to the Champion Hurdle. I still think it's a poor race this year. Potentially winning it, I was put off the horse. I didn't bother looking at it because of a bad one in the Jordan 1 hurdle last year. But at the Doncaster preview event, there was a pre-recorded video link with Nicky Henderson, who basically said it was the injection, whether it was the horse had to have before the race last year. That's what knocked the horse out. And it clearly looks like that was the case, because it was won the race well enough. With Sharjah second, Dava Star third. I got quite excited coming to second last night because I'd gone for because I thought it was a poor race. Gone for La Patuita. Sorry, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the French horse here. And he made good headway. He's doing pretty well the second last night. Good week. Well, it's like 501 at Betfair for a few quid. And he fell away, fortunately, rather very quickly, actually. He wasn't helped by the false start. I'm not sure, really. Robbie Supple, I don't know why he didn't let the horses go over the Champion Hurdle. I'm surprised he didn't let them go. I think it was much a better plan to do that, and that's going to help that horse there. In the mare's hurdle, as you will know, of course, Honeysuckle beating Benny de Deux. Hope I'm pronouncing. And Benny de Deux, I've not heard a few pronunciations of that horse, so I'll use this one, but I'm not 100% sure how it's spelled. Excellent work, wide from Rachel Blackmore. Got a bit lucky, got the one through the inside. Ruby was very outspoken against Paul Townsend, especially actually against Robbie Power, saying you never let someone go through the inside. I remember Paul Carberry on Harbour Pilot 2004 Gold Cup trying to keep best mate in the second last in the Gold Cup and getting a bit of some boos from the crowd. Well, he's coming to a home turn. Well, it's not Jim Carn, it's at Cheltenham Festival, and he's perfectly entitled to keep himself in the rules. Doing that, I remember, I can't remember, sorry, I found the guy's name who was the road Captain Christie in 74 Gold Cup to win. But he deliberately kept Richard Pittman in, who was tracking High Ken at the third last, and he's going to pull outside, and suddenly found that Captain Christie was on his outside, not letting him get out of the way. He knew High Ken was a bad jumper. Third last, High Ken Falls brings down Pendle, and that helped Captain Christie win the Gold Cup. On another issue about Epatante, I was hearing that they may look at knocking the £7 medal allowance down from, it used to be 5 back in the day. I mean, the last few years it's been 7. Personally, this is my view, there shouldn't be any at all. And a mare should run against the geldings on, and then the entire horses as well, of course, on level weights. And if the horse she isn't good enough to do that, well, she's just running mares races. I hold the same view on weight for age. I think a 3-year-old horse should, in the same with King George 6 win Elizabeth Stakes, and saving these clips, run off the same weight as the older horses. Now that makes it more difficult for them, but it might actually encourage people to try to keep the horses in training in that situation. So Franklin stays a 4-year-old. We look for great horses we've seen over the years, Najinsky, Sea the Stars, Dancing Brave, and everyone as 4-year-olds, and that might encourage people to run horses as 4-year-olds. So that's another issue. That's in a preview event. I said Philip Kirby wasn't going to run at Lady Buttons if both Benedict and Honeysuckle won, or they did, and Lady Buttons did one, and maybe shouldn't have done because he was quite well beaten. Honeysuckle talking maybe for a Tam Hurdle next year, and frankly, I don't think Tam Hurdle this year was up to much. I don't necessarily take a lot of winning. Next race was the officially called a Centenary Handicap Chase, got sponsored this year by Northern Trust Company. The Pinora, good win over Galvin. I'm not sure Galvin ran on. He came very strongly at second, so well punted into joint favourite. Came very strongly, and I think just didn't pick up. Imperial Aura winning at. Good enough with Kim Bailey, who's always had up and down times since he won the Grand National 1990 with Mr. Frisk and rendered a double. Both with jockey Norman Williamson, winning the Champion Order book in 95 and they go Cup with Master Oates. It's had a good and bad period since then. I hope this is one a better period for him, winning with jockey David Basswiding. Or same colours as Imperial Commander, and I think also Countrywide Flame, Imperial Commander, of course, Gold Cup winner, and I think Countrywide Flame have the same colours. Triumph Hurdle. I'm not sure the same ownership. I think it's maybe colours that get reused. I'm not sure all the same owners are involved. So good win for them over Galvin, with Hover Note back in third place. Talking about as a Gold Cup horse possibly there. I think that might be a bit much, to be honest, but hopefully he'll move on. I'm not convinced this is really the race that Future Gold Cup horse will be running in. Because I think Laughter New was a favourite to be eliminated. Of course, he's bringing the Hurton Mares race next year. Mares Chase, and this was the slight betting favourite to be eliminated, and I think possibly may not really be necessary as a race. Not sure about that one. People talk about Ryanair Chase. I think I shouldn't really have that. Well, personally, I think it's necessary because horses aren't quick. Not many aren't quick enough for Champion Chase at 2 miles or Gold Cup at 3 1/4. So it's a nice middle distance race. I wouldn't actually mind a Ryanair hurdle race actually, equivalent. We're knocking the stairs hurdle up to 3 miles 2 furlongs. The old Pretemps hurdle, under its old name, used to be that, and it went down in distance. I would like to see a middle distance race with Champion hurdle running 2 miles, a 2 mile 5 grade, eventually grade and hurdle race, and a 3 mile 2 stayers. Final race, National Front Challenge Cup, down from 4 miles to 3 miles 6, just about these days. The sponsors of the Newcastle, first Newcastle preview event I went to, I think NE Bet record, newish sort of North East company, betting company. Didn't know that, and actually printed information saying it was still basically 4 miles. Well, so you ought to do research if you're going to sponsor things, unless you get it right. I'm not sure it's the right decision. I think the jockeys were the issue last year, not necessarily the distance. Anyway, two great amateurs fighting this one out. Gravens Hill on Jamie Codd defeating Lord de Menil, written by Samuel Icona. I'm a great fan of Samuel Icona. I know he gets some criticisms. I know if he should. He's a great jockey, and he's going to win a Gold Cup. Two King Georges, and a fantastic one. The Ancient Fences, I believe, lately retired Ruby Wall. She was the best jockey, actually, even taking out the amateur races, which obviously only Samuel Icona could run in. I think he actually does it wide in. He's, I think, still a great jockey. I know he has a massive stupidity at Fakenham when I think he rode a finish too early a few years back. But I think he's a great jockey. Those two are good. I was looking on Twitter just to see the comments on Patrick and Mullins' ride, because I thought it was a terrible ride, bluntly. And he does seem to be had a lot of criticism for the horse, who was 11 to 10 on favourite. That horse was carefully selected. I wonder what he was doing. He was never making it move early enough, and down the side of the course, into the second, third last, was joking to me in my mind, thinking, does he still think it's 4 miles? Or maybe 5 miles? Made no move early enough. I'm not sure he won anyway. He didn't really run on enough and before seating a final flight. But I don't think he gave much. I think he was overconfident and was a poor ride. So that's the races. A few comments. I watched the racing in Paddy Power Bookmakers in the middle of Newcastle. I quite like watching it with people all on my own. What I don't like to do is watching bookmakers and no one's there. It's a bit boring. So either I can watch them at home and have a coffee or something in my house. The reason I don't do that too much is that I can't actually watch the final 2 races. At least I don't know if Channel 4 covered, not Channel 4, keep up to date, ITV covered the Mayor's Hurdle or not, but certainly don't cover the final 2 races. And my local bookmakers has closed down. Basically near where I live, couldn't nick up to watch the final 2 races. I was in town in central Newcastle anyway, but that was closed down because I suspect the sort of fixed odds, the maximum stake being cut down. A lot of bookmakers have been closed because of that. I don't think that's the bookmakers' own fault. I think we bet the house, so to speak, on the those machines, and they shouldn't have done it. Got that to the bookmakers. The great one is at 450. I'm not quite sure it's heritage, so the Asian heritage people. I'm not sure it's Japanese or maybe Vietnamese or maybe a mixture of the two. Actually, obviously back to Imperial Aura, and they were cheering, saying Newcastle, because I live in Newcastle, and the bookmakers there, because it was black and white colours. But it had to be a great, it was a bit of a great joke. I've only ever been to a festival in 2016. I went for 4 days of them. The reason I don't, it's expensive to buy tickets, of course. The accommodation is horrendous. And I'm reading about, looked up interest recently on possibility of Airbnb, but that can be unreliable. I went 4 years ago. It's a really nice place, and I could recommend it. I might get around to it. I'll say where it was. But still, 130 a night for not quite an unsweet place. This is for 4 nights. I stayed for what. I decided to go down day early instead of day later, so we went down on Monday, back on Saturday. 4 days, great fun. I really enjoyed it, and actually there's a couple of nice pubs out the way. I'm a great fan of Real Ale and the pubs. These sort of pubs. The Sanford Park Ale House is one. I can't remember the other offhand. A little outside of Cheltenham, just within 10 minutes walk, say, from the centre of Cheltenham. But a lot of the people who like just like a pint would dive into nearer pubs, and so you can actually see Sanford Park Ale House. I was able to sit down often for a meal, after racing. It was really handy because it's so busy, Cheltenham. But that was great. I've been to every race course in Britain plus 4 in Ireland. Not at Folkestone. I didn't get to Folkestone before it closed, but I did get to Toaster. I was explain my travel to Wales at Toaster one day. It was bizarrely awkward. Nothing to do with race course at all, although I think that race course was badly run. I'm not surprised it closed down. But that day, but all that situation, all those 300 odd race meetings, the greatest time over anything was watching Sprinter Sacco win his second champion chase 2016 in the stands. I decided basically most of the time just to stay in the stands and just not shift for 7 races, but a couple of times went in the centre of course for a few races. I'll explain that when I talk about Cheltenham at some point. A number of videos, frankly, be quite a few for Cheltenham over history, but it was fantastic to see him do that. I couldn't believe he's actually come back basically, from oblivion. Basically, having been brilliant 3 years earlier. That's just edgy as my view. Being in the stands for when Frankie Tory won the Derby on Golden Horn in 2015. I can recommend going to Cheltenham. Definitely if I lived in Cheltenham, anyone near will be a member. But it's just too much. It's just too much to hassle from Newcastle. It's too far. I could go for the day. I thought of that. But it's at least 70 quid on a train if you're lucky. Even that's ticket. And it's just too much. I'm not sure how quickly I'll talk about Wednesday's racing. Probably on Thursday morning. I've got a ticket for a concert at the Sage Skin Gate at a great venue. After racing, 7:30. So either I'll talk before Monday, get a chance maybe to talk SF2. I mean, outside basically, though it might be a bit cold, or do it on a Thursday morning. But I'll have a look to everyone later on for racing rest of the week. Thanks.